It's showtime. What's up, good people? And welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the biggest, the best, and the baddest show in the world. And our guy's back, Dominican E. E, what's the words, E? What's the words right now in New York, up in the heights, E? Talk to me, E. Talk to me.
Right now, all we talking about the New York Knicks right now. New York Knicks. Go Knicks. Go New York, baby. That's the talk of the town right now. Go New York.
Remember that song, Go New York, Go, right? New York is on fire right now. Celebrity Row is lit. E, I said some, and we said on the show too, I said some stuff about Thibodeau, you did as well. Then I posted some stuff on my Instagram. People went crazy. All the Knicks fans went crazy. I predicted they would lose 6. They won 6 at home. Oh my goodness, E, the comments, everybody going nuts. But anyway, Knicks won. E, can the Knicks close out in Indiana, or do you think it's going to get back to New York and go to a Game 7?
I'm hoping they can close it out, but it's going to be tough up there in Indiana. I think it's going to go 7. You know, hey, NBA is about the money. You know, Game 7 at Madison Square Garden, it's going to be electrifying. So I think it's going to go 7. I'm hoping they close it out just for the sake of them getting some rest. But, knowing the NBA, they're going to push Game 7. So 7
Well,
at
hold on.
Madison
We
Square
said knowing
Garden.
the NBA. Whoa. It's some implications there, right? So what are you implying?
The NBA has a history of, making sure that money's right. And I think a Game 7 at MSG is going to bring in so much money in for the NBA. I think that's, I'm not implying that, but, there's been some rumblings. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Okay. So now, E, by you making that comment, you making me get into another conversation when you talk about the conspiracy theories surrounding the NBA. Okay. So now you're making me go there, E. Hold on, E. E, conspiracy theory talk. Okay. Now let's talk about some of these NBA fines. So I'm going to give you 3 examples. Okay. One, you got Jamal Murray throwing a heating pad, and another item too is like a heating pad and a towel on the court during a playoff game at a referee. Okay?
Yeah,
suspension. Hold on. Suspension, $100,000, no games. Right? $100,000, no games. We got Patrick Beverley throwing a ball in the stands, hitting the fan, right? Supposedly. Another fan throwing the ball back, Beverly taking the ball back and throwing it back at that fan. Patrick Beverly suspended 4 games starting next season.
Wow.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Gobert, for the second time that he's done this, right? He did it early in the year. Second time, he made the money sign at the official, implying that the NBA's fixed and that the officials are on the take, and we're gambling and betting now part of it. It's tarnished and tainted the game. Okay?
Yes.
So 3 different suspensions. Okay? Do you feel like of those 3 suspensions, which of the 3 do you think was fair?
Patrick Beverly throwing the ball back at the stand. I think that was fair. 4 games. I think that's fair. The Jamal Murray, I think he should have got suspended at least a game. You throw a heating pad on the court to a referee. I mean, that's those are things you just don't do. So I think that suspension alone, I think they should have suspended him a game or 2. But I think the Patrick Beverly is fair. The Patrick Beverly is fair. I don't think the Jamal Murray should have got suspended 1 game at least for that incident.
Eric, let me tell you something. So you talked about you talked very specifically about the game, the NBA being potentially tainted, won in Game 7s, et cetera, right? So I think it's an abomination that Murray didn't get some game suspension. Okay.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
there's no way you can throw a heating pad at a referee on the court, right? Players can potentially get hurt, but anyway, the referees are part of the game. Okay. You can never throw something at an official. That's nuts. Okay. Yeah. That's one. And then if you saw the post press conference, or the next day, Murray kept dismissing it like, let's move on, it's over with, right? So he showed no contrition, in my opinion, okay? Or not enough contrition. At some point, Eric, we have to teach people accountability, in all fairness. And from an accountability perspective, Jamal Murray should have been suspended at least a game or two, Eric, because ultimately, at least a game, possibly two, because ultimately his behavior, if he was held accountable, would then impact the rest of his teammates, which it should. And that'll teach Murray a lesson, right? That you can't just wantonly do whatever you want to do and it not impact people outside of yourself, number one. Now, then the question comes up here. If you're Adam Silver, because David Stern, David Stern would have probably suspended him for 5 games because David Stern didn't play. Adam Silver, new age guy, a little bit more player friendly, right, E?
Yes.
Adam Silver has a playoffs to run. You're in the midst of a contract negotiation for your TV deal, trying to get over probably a 10-year stretch, $75 billion. Do you sit one of the best players on the championship team? Is that in the best interest of the NBA and the playoffs?
No, that's not in the best interest of the NBA. No way. I mean,
so how do you balance the interest? So what's more important, to suspend him and do the right thing, or to protect, or to allow him to play because you want all the players and all the best players on the court? Because one game can significantly impact the whole series.
Yeah.
So what do you do if you're Silver?
I mean, you keep that money train running, Frank. You keep that money train rolling. I don't think you suspend one of your better players, especially in the playoffs, championship team. I don't think you suspend them. The NBA won't suspend them, but from the fans' point of view and from the spectator, yes, he should have got suspended. But from the NBA's point of view, it's like, no, we can't suspend a guy, has so much impact in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't suspend him. You can't suspend him, Frank. The NBA is about the money, Frank. It's about the money.
So I'm torn about this one because I think he should have gotten suspended. And I think as a commissioner, you don't suspend him 2 games, you suspend him 1. But Eric, he threw something at an official specifically. Yes. I mean, it wasn't even like he just threw something on the floor, right? Which is one thing, which is, by the way, as you know, crazy and asinine and something that should not have happened. But the fact, that he additionally threw it at an official, right? It has to be a suspendable offense. Yeah. So while maybe not 2 games, he should be suspended 1, and his teammates should be upset at him for getting him suspended. The coach should be upset at him. The organization should be upset at him, right? And if they lose the game, so be it. But anyway, the commerce of the NBA. Fair enough. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Now, Gobert got 75 for the money sign. So Gobert got 75 for making the money sign, right? Jamal Murray for throwing 2 things on the court at the referee only got $100,000, so $25,000 more. Crazy, Eric, by the way, okay? Crazy, crazy, crazy if you look at it from that perspective. I agree with you. Patrick Beverley should have gotten the 4 games. We agree on that, right? He deserved that. He hit a fan with a basketball and threw it back a second time.
Yes.
Is Rudy Gobert probably the 75 was what it was because of the history of Gobert. But Gobert is such a jerk, man. Everybody hates that guy, Eric. It's unbelievable how he's probably the most hated player in the NBA, right? Draymond Green and him have to be, and Draymond Green because of the way he plays and his craziness. But Rudy Gobert is such he's such an easy to hate guy. Fair enough?
Yeah, but I mean, again, I don't know the guy, but I'm just saying, like you said, it's hard not to hate the guy, man. That guy rubs people the wrong way,
Yes, that's the way to put it, E.
Yeah, him and Kyle Anderson got into a little fisticuff, not nothing major, but and then went the whole COVID thing and all this stuff. So I mean, like, you see all the stuff that he does, all the antics and stuff like that. So it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, let me stay away from this guy. Those type of people. You know what I mean?
So he's a hated guy. He's a hated guy, E. So anyway, some interesting suspensions that came down recently.
Yes.
E. We can kind of go into the games a little bit. Knicks, Indiana, we talked about that. By the way, just so I'm clear, Knicks winning 7 or losing game 7?
No, they win in game 7, Frank. They win in game 7.
Okay. I got Indiana winning in 7. I'm sticking with that. Okay? In New York.
There's no way the Knicks lose in game 7. In New York and MSG, with that crowd, with that crowd, and no way. No
Okay.
way.
So yeah. So we'll see. Nah, I'm not sure if I get Indiana 70. I'm just being difficult, right? I don't know. It's going to be hard to beat the Knicks at Game 7 in New York.
At
E,
MSG, yeah.
Is Minnesota done? I said this yesterday on my Instagram. After they lost Game 4, right? They won 2 on the road. 2 on the road, big, and then to come home and lose 2. And by the way, one time on the show, you shouted out your Dominican brother, Carl Anthony Towns. Right now, Carl Anthony Towns is on the milk carton, right? He's missing. Carl Anthony Towns should be on the milk carton right now because he's missing.
I mean, he's had some moments. He had some moments in Game 1 and 2 where he played, very well. I mean, they just need a third guy to step up. They need a third guy to step up.
Eric, he played terrible last game.
Yeah, last game.
The last 2 games, he hasn't been great.
2 games, he played very well.
And he's I need my second guy to be. He's an all-star.
Yeah.
I'm not your Dominican brother, but he's an all-star.
Yes. Yeah. He definitely.
You got to give me more.
Yeah.
But I felt like when they lost Game 4, the series is over, right? And I think that series and those 2 losses show the old proverbial concept of you got to get your heart broken, lose before you can win, right? Denver lost for years and years deep in the playoffs. This is their first quote unquote deeper playoff run for Carl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, your best players. So it is what it is. So I think that series is over. Cavs. We know that series is a joke. As Donovan Mitchell quit, he didn't play last game because of a calf injury, and they say injury, excuse me, and they say he's not playing today. And this guy is notorious for being injured and all this kind of nonsense. Do you think he's quit on the Cavs? He knows they can't win the series, right? Injured the last 2 games of the series.
Yeah,
Has Donovan Mitchell quit?
No, I don't. Those are strong words for any athlete to say they quit on the team. I won't say that. I don't think he quit on the team. I think he sees a way out as far as saying like we can't beat these guys, and he's probably injured. I'm not gonna say that he's not. He's probably injured. He's probably has some nagging injuries that's been probably been existing for a long time, and I think he just is done. He's done. Some players just check out early, Frank. Some players just check out.
So that's quitting on the team. Then you said he's a professional athlete. He didn't quit on the team. Let me ask you a question: Is Brunson hurt? Is Brunson hurt? Yes. I mean, everybody's hurt at this time of the year.
Yeah, he's hurt. Yeah, he's hurt.
It's no way It's no way Mitchell doesn't try to play at least, right? And give it a go.
Yeah. But
that's quitting on the team,
I think he's checked out mentally.
That's quitting on the team.
I think he's checked out mentally. I don't know. Mentally.
And so
let me ask you this: can you check out mentally and still and consider that quitting on the team?
Of course.
Okay.
You got to be engaged, Eric. It's 2 parts of the game: it's mental and physical. If you're not there mentally, physically, you can't be there at the same level either. Yeah. Unequivocally, if you check out mentally, you quit on your team. And by the way, he clearly showing Cleveland they better trade him, because he ain't coming back.
Yeah.
He ain't coming back, Yeah. He ain't coming back. And along the Cleveland lines, talk about guys coming back. LeBron James was spotted courtside at the last game with his wife, his agent, and his other guy that he always has with him, Mims, right? Any message there? Just out of curiosity. LeBron James courtside in Cleveland. Any message to the Lakers, A whole bunch of nothing. And LeBron James is like a passive-aggressive guy. Does it mean anything, or no?
No, that doesn't mean anything. He's good.
You sure he's not telling L.A., Bronny James is staying in the draft?
Yeah, no, he's good.
You sure he's not saying, look, Cleveland will take both of us, I'm sure. I'll go back home. You better take my son?
No, he's good. I don't think that's nothing, Frank. That's nothing.
Okay. I just got to put it out there.
Frank, he loves LA. Like you said, he's building $100 million home, you said, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's what they say. Okay. Yeah. So a bunch of nothing. Okay. Yeah, nothing. Fair enough. Last NBA series, Last NBA series. Kyrie, Dallas, Luka against OKC. 2-2 at the series. Just not it right now. Who you got pulling that one off, E?
I got Dallas pulling that off. Frank. I think, OKC's a good young team, inexperienced, and it shows at times, late game stuff. It shows at times. I got Dallas pulling it out. I think they move on. I think Luka and Kyrie, two exceptional guards. I think they move on.
E, question. Is Luka becoming the most hated guy, one of the more hated guys in the NBA with Draymond and Gobert, with all of his crying? The guy cries every play, Eric. It's almost like, bruh, get back down the court on defense, bruh. He's running down the court every play Eric, like I don't want to exaggerate, say 100% of the time, but like 90% of the time he's complaining to the refs. Is he not?
Yeah.
It's insufferable to watch, bro.
Yeah. Crying all the time to the refs.
Oh,
yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how these grown ass men, complain about the refs. I mean, I know the refs. Sometimes the refs are bad, or they're not consistent. I would say they're not consistent with making the calls, but you can't complain to the ref every single play. Like, come on, Luka. Every single play you got to complain to the refs. Like, come on, gotta stop.
It's crazy. It's making him a hated player. One, and let me ask a question, okay? Players feel like they can talk to the refs anyway. Like, if I was a ref, I'll be fighting these guys. They're so disrespectful to the refs, E. They're so disrespectful. It's like they're human beings doing a job as you are. And by the way, Luka or any player, okay? Referees make mistakes on calls. Players make mistakes when they play too,
yes.
Right? Like, you might throw a bad pass, you might have a turnover. It's part of the game,
yes,
right? But the level of disrespect and venom that's spit at these referees is crazy, Eric. It's crazy and unimaginable that these grown men, like Draymond Green, is nuts the way he talks to the officials. Nuts, bro. But anyway, Dallas. Okay,
there's some referees too that give it back though too.
They should.
I forgot that one referee that he had no nonsense. The little what's his name? He used to pick on Tim Duncan, little short referee. The name will come. I forgot his name.
Yeah, but I get it, because the level of disrespect is crazy, Eric. Yeah. Could you imagine if the coach yelled at Luka Doncic every time he turned the ball over and made a bad play?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. So anyway, the way these people talk to these officials is unbelievable. That's another good series, E. I probably got Dallas pulling it out. And I got them pulling it out because of the inexperience for OKC. But OKC and Minnesota are teams of the future, it feels like. Okay.
Yes, sure.
And then as we talk about those two teams being teams of the future, right? As we talk about the three teams of the future in the NBA, you would probably say the three teams of the future, you would look and say Denver Steel, right? Minnesota, okay, OKC, and Boston.
Yes.
Those are probably the teams of the future you would say in the NBA. Okay. Yes. And if you want to throw Philadelphia in there, maybe you will. But I don't know about that. So those are the four. And so that brings me into the next question. Are we seeing the end of super teams? Right? And let me tell you what I mean when I say super teams. Everybody was trying to squad up before. You look at and LeBron started it in a traditional sense, right? When him, D-Wade, Bosh went to Miami, boom. And then after that, we saw KD go to Golden State and went. And we saw the Suns twice with KD. KD went to Golden State, then he went to the Nets and tried to create a super team. Then he went to Phoenix recently to try to create a super team. And so, but now, as you see, Eric, some of the better young teams now have built their team through the draft, with some acquisitions too, right? But through the draft. Yes. So are we seeing the end, Eric, of the era of super teams?
Yeah, I think so. I think, guys are figuring out now to just, play with, certain teams and not partner up. I think guys, are figuring out, as you see the success of OKC, the success of Minnesota, of these young teams, right? You see the success of New York Knicks, right? Acquisitions, of course, but you see, the camaraderie of these players, playing together. You know what I mean? I think that there's no longer going to be super teams, guys partnering up. I mean, that was, LeBron and KD and those guys.
By the way, Milwaukee just did it too recently, right?
Yeah, I guess when they
right?
added,
Just to be clear,
I guess when they added Dame, but
right?
teams are now figuring out, man. I guess you got to be able to, go through the draft, get young players, develop these young players, and build that way. You know what I mean? Golden State Warriors, outside of KD, they built through the draft. You know what I'm saying? They built through the draft, developed their players, and they had a run. They had a dynasty run. You know what I mean? So again, I think that those teams, partnering up, I think that's no longer going to be, part of the NBA. I think guys are just going to try to figure it out. GMs are going to figure it out. Let's go through the draft.
So I have, I agree, right? But I think a lot of it too is going to be because they've created now a new tax apron, right? So they had the first luxury tax apron, and you got taxed, I think, your dollar for dollar. So if you were $20 million over the first tax apron, right? If you were 20 million over, you'd have to pay 20 million in fine as well. So it'd be 40 in total. And I think now they've created a second tax apron that's now $2 for every dollar you spend over that salary luxury tax apron. Okay.
Yes.
And so I think that's going to really discourage teams from having three guys on the roster that are getting the maximum amount of money. That's going to discourage that, obviously, because of that tax, that luxury tax on that second apron. So I think that's going to be a really important reason why we're not going to see it happening anymore. And also, again, I think Golden State created a model that showed you that you can win with, drafted talent, which means the GMs have to do a better job, right, Eric? Because you look at a guy like Tim Connolly, okay, he drafted all of the guys at Denver, right? He drafted all the Denver guys, and he also is the guy right now in Minnesota who's put that team together recently, right? He traded for Gobert, which is a trade, but also, got some good draft picks and did a good job of building that roster. So you look at Denver now, which is a championship caliber team, and that's homegrown, right? Aaron Gordon was an acquisition, but they drafted Porter, they drafted Murray, they drafted Jokic, who's clearly the best player in the NBA, and they built through the draft. A lot of their guys coming off the bench. Christian Brown is a guy who they drafted. Watson is a guy who they drafted. So a lot of
player too out of Kansas, pretty good player. I like him, pretty good player.
Yeah, so that was a lot of homegrown talent, and then you look at the new young teams, right? I think Sam Presti is the best GM in the game at OKC. What a great job, right? He flipped. First of all, the Clippers got Paul George. He got Shea, who's a better player, and then all of these other picks on top of that, which he's translated into great players. So they built through the draft at OKC, obviously, and it's hard to get guys to squad up and go to Oklahoma anyway. Yeah. But they're a good team that's built through the draft, and then Boston is built through the draft. Yes. Right? Tatum is a guy they drafted. Brown is a guy they drafted. Again, you make some acquisitions as well, but it's not guys squadding up. So will we have some guys that still try to create super teams? Maybe. Okay. But I do feel like that's a dinosaur concept, and it's on its way out for now. Okay. And things go on ebbs and flows and cycles. So we'll see what happens.
Let me ask you this, Frank. Should Rob Pelinka get fired?
Oh, I did a whole thing about that, E. Okay. I don't know if you know, but I did a whole thing. Yes, he should be fired. Absolutely. Yes. And I think it's white privilege. And I talked about that on my Instagram, right?
Yeah.
White privilege, right? I mean, that's a fact.
That's Kobe's guy. It was Kobe's guy.
So that's a combination of that. But E, Darvin Ham should have been fired. Darvin Ham, to me, is the worst coach in the NBA. Darvin Ham should have been fired.
But does he get all the blame? I mean, I know you touched on it before, but does he get all the blame, or you put some of that blame on LeBron?
Well, of course, some goes to the players, but E, I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that's out there about about Ham in huddles, the guy doesn't know what he's doing. He looks like he's ill-prepared,
no,
right?
I'm talking about Pelinka. Does Pelinka get all the blame, or do you put some of that blame on LeBron? Because
it's spread across everybody. The coach, the players get some blame, but you're not going. LeBron makes you too much money, but the players get blamed. But the coach didn't put the players in the right position. But listen, let me just touch on this real quickly, because, like I said, I spoke about it before. But let's just talk about some of Rob Pelinka's plays, right? I mean, so they got one ring in the bubble, which you don't count as much, right? You don't count the bubble win. Right. But listen, acquisitions, Eric. First of all, let's start with this. Who hired him?
Yeah.
So first of all, you got to pay him now. And now I got to go out there as an owner and hire another coach. So I'm paying 2 coaches, right?
Yeah.
So that's 1. 2, you won a championship in the bubble. You broke all of those players up, Eric, and you brought in Russell Westbrook?
Yeah.
He the one that blew up everything and brought in Westbrook. How bad was that?
Yeah, that was bad. That was that. Yeah, that.
And then you went out there in free agency and you brought in D'Lo.
Yeah. But
Conley was available. You brought in D'Lo. And then you went out there at the trade deadline and got all these other guys. Malik Beasley, who's gone now.
Hachimura.
Hachimura.
Yeah.
You got Malik Beasley, Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt. You get all these guys, Eric. And then what you did, Eric, was because you got those guys, right? You doubled down and you repaid them. So you repaid Hachimura. He's shown that he's not worth it. You repaid D'Lo. He ain't worth it. So you sign these guys and you double down. You traded for them and then you double down because you traded for them and you re-signed them and they don't fit. Okay? So we can go. And then, Eric, how about this? The kid, Hood Shino, who went to Indiana, the guard, Jalen Hood Shino, right? You took him over Jaime Jaquez. And by the way, Jaime Jaquez went to UCLA.
Yeah. Homegrown
He's
kid.
in your backyard.
Yeah, homegrown
If
kid.
anybody should know about the guy, it should be you.
Yeah.
So, of course, Pelinka should be fired.
Rob Pelinka,
of course, he should be fired, Eric.
Yeah.
But you know what that's about?
Yeah.
It is about the Kobe connection, and it's about, I hate to say, white privilege.
You said it. Not you said it. I didn't say it, Frank.
No, I mean, let's keep it real.
Spade is spade. Gonna call a spade a spade, Frank. You said it, Frank. I'm not gonna say it. You said it.
We have all these great transition moments, So I got a great transition moment again. When you talk about white privilege, Eric. All right? Let's talk about this moment. Let's talk about the WNBA.
Yes.
Okay? Let's talk about Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
Okay? So first of all, the WNBA and Nike and all the sneaker companies ought to be smacked because they just gave Asia Wilson her signature shoe after Breonna Stewart got hers before, after Ionescu had hers as well.
Yeah.
Right? Garbage. Asia Wilson is way more decorated as a WNBA player than both of them. And by the way, had more of a social media following than both. Way more than Breonna Stewart. Okay? And Ionescu passed her after the Curry thing when they did the 3-point thing. But before then, she was ahead of Ionescu as well, I believe.
Yes.
But anyway, decorated, and she just got her sneaker, which is crazy. And Caitlin Clark got $28 million, which she deserved, right? But now, I watched Caitlin Clark in her debut, We watched her. 20 points, 10 turnovers, okay? Yes. Boy, oh boy, Eric, on that court, it feels like it's a lot of hate.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of hate from her teammates and from the other players.
Oh, yeah.
Right, E? Yeah. I feel like it's a lot of hate, E. So, question, okay? Caitlin Clark, is all the hype deserved? Is the hate deserved? Should she have gotten a $28 million? Do you think the players are going to resent her because of it? Do you think players, and listen, let me ask this, E, do you think players resent her because she's white also?
You said a lot there, Frank. You said a lot, and I'm agreeing with
you. Okay, well, give me some of your thoughts on some of that. I know I said a lot, but give me some of your thoughts on some of that, E.
And I'm agreeing on all of them, Frank. I think, she was given the crown, having played a WNBA game. There's a lot of hate. Teammates probably feel that she is not deserving of that. Other opponents feel like, okay, we're going to see her on the court. We're going to see what she could do. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. I think it's a combination of everything you said, Frank. I think it's a combination of everything you said. And, she's going to have to wear that. She's going to have to wear that, and she's going to have to come out every night with that on her back, that pressure of, I got to excel. I got to perform, and I got to excel every night in, night out. And I think it's going to wear on her. I think she's a nice young lady, but I think that pressure of, her being, the face of the WNBA or the queen of the WNBA is going to wear on her. You know what I mean? So we will see. But the first game you saw, they were coming at her. They were going at her, Frank. They were going at her. So, it's like
right.
it's like the Lonzo Ball effect when his father was yapping all that. Oh, my son is this, that, and the third. First game out, Patrick Beverly checked him. You know what I'm saying? And he hasn't been the same player ever since. So when you are crowned that, you gotta bring it, and it's gonna take some time for her. It's gonna take some time. She's gonna make the right adjustments, but that's a heavy load to carry, Frank. That's a heavy load to carry.
So first of all, I have a couple of things about that. So first of all, it's a heavy load to carry, right? And with that comes all the adulation and all the success and all the economics that you get. But when it's not working well, you got to accept the flip side, right? And you have to embrace and accept that. That's one, right? That was the whole Angel Reese argument. Angel Reese was in everybody's face going crazy, but when it went bad, then she wanted to cry and say, "Oh, poor me, poor me." You can't do that, all right? That being the case, Eric,
Yes.
Caitlin Clark, in my opinion, there's white privilege involved potentially. Are they black haters and black players that hate on her in the WNBA because she's white, right? Yes. But I'll be honest with you, E. The girl deserves the Nike deal. She deserves the crown that's being put on her head because she's changed the sport of women's basketball. She's changed the sport of women's basketball. Now, what we don't know is if it's long-term or temporary, right? But you see in WNBA games now, first games, ESPN, early, good time, prime time, Nike, the shoe deal she deserves. Like the girl was big time player. And by the way, 20 points, 10 turnovers, 20 points, great debut, 10 turnovers. First game in the WNBA, the speed of the game, the players, the nerves, everybody gunning at you. It's going to take some time. That's normal, right? Any great player takes time. So, I expected that. You know what I mean? I expected that.
Okay.
But I do believe Caitlin Clark is, a unicorn. What she's been able to do and galvanize is incredible, right? She's a really good. Now listen, athletically, we'll see. She's not super fast, but she can shoot it. She understands the game. I think she's very Diana Taurasi-esque with a little bit more point guard skills. I think she'll be a great, great player in time. I do feel like she'll settle into the WNBA.
You think she's a Taurasi? I think she's more of a Sue Bird. I mean,
well, she's 6 foot tall, right? And Sue Bird didn't score. The best thing she does is score and shoot threes. I mean, when you say she's more Sue Bird was probably a 12-point per game scorer and a 6-assist player. Everybody looked at Sue Bird as the ultimate passing point guard. So she can't be that. Taurasi was a bigger player that scored. Yeah. She's way more Taurasi than Sue Bird. She's a scorer.
Yeah. But I mean, she does pass the ball. She does facilitate. She does that.
But all Sue Bird did was that.
Yeah. But
this girl is a scorer extraordinaire.
It goes by what you said, white privilege. It goes by what you said. Sue Bird at one point was like the face of the WNBA, right?
Sure.
So it goes back to what you said, white privilege. Why?
So
what was the young lady's name? I think she was Maya Moore. What's her name?
Maybe to me, one of the more underrated players ever to play the women's game. Yes. Maya Moore played at UConn. She stopped playing because remember.
Yep.
She got her now husband at the time out of jail and she stopped playing.
Yes.
Super duper underrated player, but phenomenal player, E.
Yes.
Phenomenal player. But look, Caitlin Clark I think is great. I think, it's some of all the stuff, like I said, there's going to be some hate. There's going to be some growing pains, some knocks. Look, I hope that she continues to elevate the game, okay? I hope she continues to elevate the game. But let's be realistic. The TV deal in the WNBA right now is $60 million. The one in the NBA is $2.4 billion per year. So, exactly. Those are the numbers, E.
Yeah, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So when people argue about equal pay and all that kind of stuff, well, those are the numbers. And the NBA is doing a new TV deal. It's going to get them over a stretch to $75 billion, not per year, but you will probably be in the $5 to $6 billion per year. So anyway, the WNBA is 40 games as well, Eric, right, which is a significantly smaller league. The WNBA probably should expand their league so the players don't have to go overseas, add more teams, which they're trying to do, and try to make it a real league, not a summer league. Which has been, okay? Yeah. It's been a summer league. But anyway, we'll see, Eric. They got charters now for some of the teams. So, they're flying on chartered planes. So the evolution, we'll see how far it evolves. But Caitlin Clark has been at the forefront of that.
Yes.
Fair enough?
Definitely, yes. Fair enough. I hope she.
Well, listen. Say it.
I hope she can, carry that load. I mean, right now, it's going to take some time, but I hope she can carry that load, the WNBA will benefit with her being, the face of WNBA for years to come.
So, I want to end with this topic, okay? Because this is one topic, Eric, that drives me crazy. This one thing that drives me crazy, Eric. And I talked about this yesterday, right? This combine thing. I got to talk about this, E. Like, the first day at the combine, they talking about like Bronny James was the next Michael Jordan, right? He jumped 40 inches off the ground. He shot all these jumpers, right, E, at the combine, right? The first day, okay? Where they treat players like animals, right? Which is messed up, but it is what it is, like in the football combine. They're treating these guys like, like slave owners watching slaves run up and down the court or jump up in the air, right?
That's another topic, man. That's another topic.
Right. But so then he goes and does all of this in the combine, and then they play 5-on-5, which I give him credit that he went to play, right? 4 points, Eric. Stop with the combine garbage. If you read the combine information, you thought he was about to be a lottery pick. Then they played 5-on-5, Eric, and he had 4 points. 4 points, Eric. Stop with this combine garbage, please. I want to see the guys on the court eat. So, I had to say that. And listen, I don't want to keep getting on the kid, right? But stop telling me what guys are doing, nobody on the we talked about this, you and I, today, playing against the cone. Yeah. There are no cones in the NBA, There are no cones in the NBA.
But I get what you're saying, Frank, but I would still like to see the combine just for the intangibles, the measurements. We gotta see, vertical leap, shuttle run, and then we gotta see, the shooting stuff. That's against nobody.
The shooting stuff is garbage. We can do the measurables. We want to know their height, right? Even though it feels very slave trade-ish, but okay. We want to know their height.
Another topic, Frank.
All right. We want to know their height, E.
Yeah.
Right? We want to know. We know he can jump, right? We watch. It's on the tape, but okay, we can get the measurement, right? But E, the most important thing is how they play the game, bruh.
Yeah.
We talked about that today.
We got to see you in live action, Bronny. We got to see you in live
action.
That's
it. Or any player, E. I want to just talk about Bronny. Any player, Eric.
Yeah. Live action. Come on, guys. We got to see you in live action. And some of these guys are ducking smoke. They like, nah, we ain't playing. Some of these guys ain't playing. They're being advised by their agents not to play. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm not drafting that guy, E. If a guy ain't going to come to my team and play against people, I don't care who he is, unless it's Victor Wembanyama or LeBron James, right, who's a no-brainer. In this weak draft right now, Eric, this draft may be the weakest, well, in terms of star power. This reminds me of the 2013 draft when Anthony Bennett was number one.
Yeah, that's the draft with Giannis, right? Anthony Bennett. That's the same draft.
Yeah, Giannis was in that draft.
Yeah.
Right.
Pope. He was in that draft.
We're going to end on this note, E. Who you got going number one in the draft? Because we're going to do a whole show about the draft. Who you got going number one, E?
Frank, I can't even tell you, Frank. This is a woo.
They're talking about Alexander Sarr, the big French kid.
Yeah.
We'll see. But this draft, can you imagine, and I talked about this yesterday, if you're the Atlanta Hawks and the one time you finally get the number one pick. Now, remember, Eric, you got number one picks, so you got even guys like Paolo Banchero, you got obviously Wembanyama. Yeah. You get so many of these drafts where you get really good players, right, who become franchise or at least really good pieces. Could you imagine getting a number one pick this year in the draft, Eric? And your best choices are, Alexander Sarr and, Richard, the other French kid, and Isaiah Collier and Reed Shepard.
Yeah.
And Rob Dillingham?
There's not a lot of star power there, Frank. Not a lot of star power there.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Crazy, but anyway, look, E, it's been real as always. We're going to wrap up on that note, my brother. I know at this part of the show, E, we always give you a chance to shout out some of the people that are doing great things in the Dominican community. E, so who you want to shout out today?
Yeah. Oh, but before I do that, the referee's name was Danny Crawford. That's the referee. Him and
Crawford.
Always get in fights with new players, stuff like that. So I just wanted to mention that. But I'm gonna go since it's we're getting into June, July. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna stick with baseball. I'm gonna go Pedro Martinez on this one. I'm gonna go with Pedro. I'm gonna go with Pedro and the stuff he did. A big shout out to Pedro Martinez and what he's done in the Dominican Republic. As what he's giving back to the community out there, and also in the community of Boston and what he's doing in Boston. So I'm going Pedro Martinez, Hall of Famer, de lo mío. Great numbers.
Yeah.
Great numbers. Had phenomenal seasons with Boston. He's the Yankees hated him.
Yes.
They had that chant, "Who's your daddy?"
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going with Pedro Martinez on this one, Frank. I'm sticking with baseball.
One of the greatest pitchers ever, Eric. Notorious Yankee, public enemy, number one, arguably, especially after the fight where he took Zimmerman and grabbed him by the head and threw him on the floor.
Yeah.
And A-Rod came out, and it was one of the craziest fights in MLB history.
Yeah.
Great pitcher, though. Nasty slider, breaking ball. And the guy looked like he was 110 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? But he was some kind of electric E. That's how you describe his stuff and the way he played. Electric. Yankee public enemy number one, but great pitcher.
He was nasty, Frank. He was nasty. He was nasty. He would throw inside. He was nasty. He would
Tough.
throw inside.
Okay. So anyway, shout out Pedro Martinez. Yes. Oh, last name E. Eric Martinez, Pedro Martinez. There you go. All right, E. Well, listen, always great to have you on the show. Always. Another great episode. Everybody out there, like, comment, share, subscribe, show love. We appreciate everybody out there. Until tomorrow, we out. Love.
All right.